So people, in this video we're looking at the downswing, your transition. We're looking at a great drill here. One of the best drills with two parts to it that's going to improve your ball striking. We're looking at the best players in the world. I'm going to listen to what Xander Schäufele has got to say about the transition, evidence-based instruction. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. Give us a thumbs up, guys. We're starting to reach lots of people. World-class golf instruction. Let's have a look at a video that's really going to help your ball strike, especially on the golf course. So guys, right, creating time, creating the rhythm, space and the room in your swing. It's almost like, I guess, creating a little bit of effortless power and getting things, you know, the moves, the sequence to complement each other. The kinematic sequence, how can we get in there and feel and notice these things? Later in the video we're going to be looking at some evidence-based material, and really, as funny as it sounds, in slow motion you can see rhythm. You can see where it starts from. So we're going to take you through some of the moves. The first thing is creating a backswing where everything's moving and finishing off before we're starting down too early. So in other words, what I like to say, to get things to collect at the top, where we're looking at really good structure. And from here we're creating some resistance, almost you could probably say some energy, and then we can move that energy into the right spots with a couple of feels that also give the swing a nice look to it. All right, but it's not about making a swing look good, it's about hitting it solid, better mistakes, getting your compression, all the things that we like to show people on WorldClassGolf.com. Join the community there, guys. There's lots going on. One of the first things, of course, as we've heard for many, many years, is top golfers talking about getting the things to finish the swing off, getting things to collect nicely at the top. And one of the great ways to feel this, because you really need to feel this, feel the time, is to get your right leg to draw back. And you're creating, what we always like to say is this symmetrical knee work, where the amount that the right knee goes back, the left knee goes forwards. So people, let's have a look at some of the purest swings in world golf here. Before we look at a two-piece drill that's really going to improve your ball striking out on the golf course, I've got couples here at this amazing golf swing as the right leg straightens and everything gathers at the top. Now, this symmetrical knee work here, it can really increase your turn and your tilt, and supplying you with so much space, preventing early extension. Simply put, the amount that the right knee goes back, the left knee goes forwards, the chain reaction that it has is quite amazing. We've seen it for years. It drops the left hip, which just gives you so much room to tilt and turn. And we've seen Snead drawing the right side back. It's good for your back. It's good for senior players. It's good for younger players. And it gives that, sets up a wonderful chain reaction. Now we're going to look here at a downswing drill as well. And this is an important part of the puzzle. We see couples here moving forwards. Watch this sit down effect and the right leg just staying back. But he's going to get the right leg to the finish line before the hands do. Have a look at that. And this is what really sets up this incredible kinematic sequence of your legs and hips starting, getting all together here, and then you'll see this movement forwards. Look at Oousthuizen. What a golf swing this is. Look at that shift across. Now, from a different angle, what is interesting, and I just want to share this one with you, because looking at the way that the right leg here straightens back, we'll see the sequence here. Watch this. Just see that movement there as the right side stays back and the left goes forwards. We've seen some great swingers over the years with just incredible rhythm. Have a look at this for time here at the top of the swing. And you'll hit it an absolute mile. That's the thing when you're working with TrackMan and Flight Scope. You know, we're thinking that we have to throw the suitcase at it. I mean, there's such a beautiful rhythm, isn't it? Schäufele, look at the head just slightly sink down there. And he's spoken about what he's worked on with his father, getting up at the top, having a pause in his swing, but that's what we're going to look at. But we're also going to look at the next move down, because that's what they don't probably explain as much as what they could. And we're going to have a look at both these moves, and then later in the video, a downswing segment here that I want you guys to try and feel to really free up your through swings. Let's have a look now at this drill. I think you're going to really, really enjoy this. This will improve your ball striking out on the golf course. So guys, a little pause here. Great drill. I'm going to talk to you about what it does and also talk about the difficult element of this, why it's so good and why, regardless of your skill level advanced players, intermediate players, we really should all be doing this drill. It's also great for your balance and your hand-eye coordination. What we're looking at doing is getting up to the top of the swing. Now, when we're pivoting back correctly, this right side will draw back somewhat and we'll get everything to collect at the top, getting some compression in this hip joint from this right thigh to this hip joint. Now, we're going to pause for a split second or two. Where it gets difficult is from here getting back across so we can get this right knee to cover the golf ball, that we can get the lateral shift, that we're getting the right side to get underneath the left, working this right knee down and under. We need to get this right hip under the left. We know that around impact it's 10 to 17 degrees lower than the left. We know we have to get laterally and across. World Class Golf instructors improving golfers between 4 and 11 shots. Your swing analyst video is the same as this YouTube format, except with your swing on the screen. It goes between 15 to 30 minutes with tailored drills and exercises, a higher level of instruction at a cheaper price. 1,300 videos, 75 separate series. Reach out to us in the chat room and get on the path to playing your best golf. We only have 0.2, 0.3 seconds from the top of the swing to impact. And when we're thinking pause, or when we're thinking having a little break at the top or a pause at the top of the swing, it does make it then difficult to get across. If you practice this for a while, you will get such good rhythm and sequence on the golf course. And that is really, you know, out on the battlefield when we're nervous and we've got external pressures of the game, it's such an important aspect to have good rhythm, especially when the body's under stress or the mind is under stress. When that doesn't happen, your sequence messes up your swing. It's not all about positions, believe me. And for advanced players, this is really good. This is an exercise that we've seen quite a few tour pros work on over the years. So get it to collect, and then what we're doing is we're still working the legs in the downswing towards the target, so that right hip is underneath the left hip, the right arm is underneath the right shoulder, and we're getting across. We don't have to straighten this leg too early and spin. It's not going to happen from there. All right, so let's have a look if we can do this. Now we're just going to get up to the top, have a little pause, get some compression in this pivot in this right hip joint, pause it and then move it across. And I got some really nice contact on that. When you look at it yourself, you think, oh, I had a huge pause at the top of the swing, but it almost looks like a normal rhythm. You'll notice when you're working, if you're working with TrackMan or speed monitors, things like that, that there really is no difference in your speed, which shows us that we don't have to throw the suitcase at it at the top. That sequence, rhythm, and this fluidity, this freedom of motion is essential in hitting solid, consistent shots. Be fast, or it can be a bit slow. It's not about tempo. You know, when you're looking at rhythm and sequence, it's the parts, the bits and pieces that are moving together. You've got what we call a kinematic sequence, where from the top of the swing, with all the tests through biomechanics, we know that the things that are moving, really getting the knees and the hips, and then the shoulders a little bit, and then the arms, and then the hands. It's the 1, 2, 3, 4, the hips, shoulders, the arms and the hands. So you obviously, look, you can't think that, can you? I mean, you've got to think less, and the dominating thought has to be the golf ball. But first off, if we're getting things to really explode too early from the top, it's really quite difficult then to get things to match up down the bottom. So by finishing this swing and just sort of drawing this leg back, you're creating a bit of an energy, and from here we can start to talk about feels, right? What you can feel, perhaps what you can practice, and not thinking too much when you're out there, but really from the get-go, from the top of the swing here, there's a couple of famous feels, and the people that I teach, we like to look at the knees, and we like to have actually just a touch of movement downwards. Now, there's a reason for this. If we can get everything to move nicely, we start a little bit down. This has a great effect of hitting the ball with a bent arm, which has got a little bit of movement down. The true average is 3 inches. You're not going to perhaps do that too quickly, but if you're moving down just a little bit, you can feel a little bit of pressure here with your lead foot, almost like you're just sinking a little bit, but you're doing it sort of with a movement that the top half, that the head is slightly on the side. It complements an opening up of the chest and a rising of the left side. Some extension. I'll say it again. We're getting the swing to collect, slightly drawing the right leg back. You can feel then if it kicks too early. That's what you're trying to do, is trying to get it all nicely in one motion. And if this kicks out too early, you'll feel that. And then from there, what you're trying to get is a little bit of a push, a little bit of a bend into that left knee, a little bit of pressure into that left foot, not too much, but you're complementing with a move on the side. The head's opening up, and this will help the body turn, and also we can get some shaft lean. All right, so when we start to move downwards, if I get my hands in front, a lot of the time the club's in the air, but that's one of the reasons a lot of people lose their angles, is being up too tall. And if we can get a little bit of a sinking, gliding effect and the head moving on the side, we can open up the chest as well. A lot of people not quite getting that right, getting that motion of the head and chest opening up. We do have that secret move that we've seen so many great players when they're moving down. It's almost like that first part of the swing. So many of the legends of the game have had that right leg just sort of almost staying back in that initial stage, and then getting that head to move through freely on the side. And really by applying, lots of practice swings without the golf ball, we can tend to feel things a little bit better. One of the drills I love to do is get the club over the top of the ball and imagine that I'm just swinging over the top, but sort of listening to what the body then does and feeling the motion, and then coming in and giving one a hit. But guys, looking at this, drawing this right leg back, getting your knees, a bit of pressure into this foot and getting the head to move on the side, and then getting up into a really balanced finish position where you've probably got the belt buckle just slightly ahead of your chest. It's going to give you your swing some really good balance and get this kinematic sequence and get these moves blending in. Let's now have a look at some fantastic ball strikers in slow motion. We can start to see these pieces of some of the best players of all time. So guys, check out Tiger Woods and how much time that he's got at the top of the swing. Absolutely remarkable action, isn't it? I'm going to have a look at Mcilroy. What a golf swing that is. Have a look here at Mcilroy. And this is when he was younger, and I think this is just about as good as it gets with a driver. And I think I actually preferred this swing back there. Let's have a look when it gets to the top of the swing. Nothing moving, and that's when I always use that term, it collects at the top of the swing. Let's have a look from here. As the guys, the closer you get to some of these movements, the better you're going to hit it. Let's have a look at the amount of lateral shift. Isn't it remarkable to see how far that lead hip moves forwards and that head moving down? You take away the lines and you actually don't see that, do you? We see other things that stand out. Let's have a look at Tiger Woods up the top of the swing. And the same thing as applies here. We're going to put a line on top of the head. You can see this is the evidence-based material, guys, working on facts and getting you close to these positions. Look at the amount of lateral movement there. We know that we've got that 10 to 15 centimeters, 4 to 6 inches. We know that the two averages 2 to 4 inches, holding on to angles, moving down. And understanding these things are really, really important to helping you get on the track to playing your best golf. Have a look at Oousthuizen. This is so much stuff we're showing people on WorldClassGolf.com, guys. You're just going to love that platform. Get on there and have a look. Have a look at the time that he's also got. It's very deceptive, this. When we get to the top of the swing, nothing moving. And then we see that initial move, that separation, the kinematic sequence, where we're looking at really getting the hips to start first. Have a look at that right leg staying back here. And that is a really, really interesting move. But when you have a look at it from here, and this is what I think is, thanks to Michael Field for the use of your pictures, have a look at this golf swing when it winds up. Nothing moves until it's right at the top. Right, so this is practicing this type of thing. It's just great to get your right leg to straighten a little bit, wind it up, and then we can get this initial move separating, getting the lead hip to move forwards. And then look at that movement, huge lateral movement, and a lot of people saying there's no lateral movement in the swing. I think you can get tablets for that. Seriously, people, wow.